What is up, tube users? I'm the stereotypical gamer, and welcome back to another fantastically fun games for under $15. Today, we are talking about a game that round out at my number 10 favorite games of all time, Age of Mythology. Now, last week we went over Halo Wars, which is another real-time strategy game, and I said in that video that I haven't really played that many real-time strategies, like maybe 5 in total, and I think the reason for that is because of this game. I played Age of Empires probably before this, but I mean, this game came out when I was fairly young, and it was one of my first, really gaming experiences. You had, the little Flash games and stuff like that, but this was my first, real AAA kind of title game that I played on PC. Nonetheless, I had an Xbox growing up, but this was definitely my first delve into PC gaming, because this game I still don't think is on Xbox. They have the Age of Empires and stuff, but Age of Mythology was never on there. So it's just a really great game, and it really set the standard for me for real-time strategy games, and it's definitely a reason why I don't play a lot of them, because this game is just so fantastic, in my opinion, that any game that tries to kind of play in the same vein of this just doesn't live up to it. And I definitely look at this game with heavy nostalgia glasses, because it was one of my first games I ever played, and I really enjoyed it. But I really do think this is one of the best real-time strategy games, even compared to, I think a lot of people think Age of Empires is probably one of the best. I think this game is better just because, one, I do have a love for just mythology in general, Greek mythology, and I think they do a really good job of actually using the history of that and making a compelling story. And I think this game, with a lot of real-time strategy games, campaigns can be kind of hard to just make interesting because of how the gameplay works in this game. You kind of build a base, build up your army, and then go destroy the enemy, right? And it's kind of hard to just make compelling gameplay out of that for... I think it's over 30 different scenarios in the campaign, and I think they do a really good job. The just kind of overarching story is just so fantastic in the campaign. It is definitely one of my favorite campaigns of all time because of the story. Gameplay wise, it's kind of it does definitely get repetitive in that nature, and that's just kind of the nature of how real-time strategy campaigns work. There's not a whole lot you can do, but this game's story just really makes it so far beyond really any other real-time strategy, in my opinion. And right now, for the low price of $7.49, I really feel that this is the time to try it. I think the $30 price tag this game has normally is kind of steep, especially for how old this game is. And yeah, they have had updates fairly recently, just kind of updating the graphics. There was a new DLC that wasn't that great, but it just kind of added more story and stuff, which I think is a really good thing for this game. So just kind of that alone. But if you just take out the DLC and just kind of go with the base game, and I think the base game comes with the first original DLC, the Titans, that really just kind of makes this game feel so good. And even if you're not a fan of real-time strategy games and just a fan of Greek mythology, this game really has a fantastic story that really sticks to kind of the lore of mythology and just how everything kind of plays out. And it is definitely one of the best campaigns of all time, in my opinion. And it's not just the campaign that makes this game. I really think what sets this apart, especially from Age of Empires, which is it's made by the same people, and a lot of people, I think that Age of Empires is the superior game, which I can understand because it definitely has better combat mechanics and everything. I think what separates this game is the god powers. I really think that the impact that those have on a match is really great. And it's not like it's that big, right? You like once you've gone through all the different ages and you get your final one, which is usually a pretty big god power, like earthquake or meteor shower. It can be really destructive on an enemy civilization, but overall it's like, in the grand scheme of things, if they built up their defenses, it's not going to do a whole lot, but it does have that impact if you plan around it, which I think is really cool. And I think the uniqueness of each god in the game really makes the gameplay of this refreshing and fun to play more so than any other real-time strategy that I've played. We went over Halo Wars last, and while that one definitely has that same element, there's only 6 heroes to play as, right? There's only 6 different ones, and it's not that great. But then when you go into Age of Mythology, just in the base game, there's 9, and I believe the base game now comes with the Titan edition, so there's 12 in total, and the Titans really give you this whole new element of things to do and really freshens up the gameplay and kind of just makes everything bigger and a lot more impactful, in my opinion. Like the Titans in this game it's just such a cool idea, and just the look of them, the animations of them emerging when you finally build their structure or whatever is just so cool and so interesting and unique that it really sets itself apart to any other kind of just game out there. So just talking about the good, I wanted to go over some of the bad aspects of this game, and there isn't really much because obviously this is one of my favorite games of all time, so I don't have a lot of bad things to say about it. But the one thing that does kind of irk me about this game is how unimpactful upgrading your different infantry units feels. So with there's a couple of different buildings that can do this. Obviously, your garrison or whatever you're using to train your units, you can upgrade them to train faster and stuff like that. But then you can also train them to have like more attack power or more damage resistance, or I think there's like attack speeds and stuff like that. And upgrading that fully, like there's different levels to it. It really doesn't feel all that impactful, and it's just kind of annoying, like a non-upgraded infantry unit compared to a fully upgraded unit. It does do more damage. Like obviously, if you just put the two head to head against each other, the one that's fully upgraded is going to win. But when you look at it through overall of just training a bunch of units to go in and fight, it really just doesn't seem all that impactful in the game, in my opinion. Then the only other thing that kind of irks me about this game is the heroes. They don't really feel all that impactful. In the campaign, they do. There's definitely the heroes in the campaign, like Arcantos, Ajax, and stuff, they're super unique, and they have these really cool abilities to them that make them unique and make them really powerful and kind of a thing that you want to keep alive to help win whatever fight you're in, you know. But in just playing like normal death matches and stuff, they don't feel all that impactful because you don't have the ones from the stories. It's just they are mythological like heroes and stuff. Like I believe you can have like Odysseus and kind of stuff like that, which is really cool. But their impact isn't that big. I mean, the biggest thing that they can do is they're really good against myth units, which you can definitely see the impact of that. But other than that, they don't have any unique skills or anything like that, and it just kind of like is like, what's the point of making these heroes when there's just other units that I could use to try and take down a bunch of myth units? And it's really only a problem if you're playing as the Greeks, because I believe the Greeks are the only ones that have those heroes. But they just don't feel impactful, because if you're playing or I think the Egyptians might have them too, but if you're playing as the Norse, you can just have these, I forget what they're called, the infantry unit is called, but it's just an infantry unit that you can have an infinite supply of, or depending on your population, that just can crush myth units. You know, they're all just heroes in themselves. They're not like unique or anything. So it is kind of frustrating to see that you have these heroes that you can only have one of in your population, and they just don't really do anything unique or different compared to any other infantry unit in the game. And that's really all the bad that I have about this game. I don't think that those elements really take away from the gameplay all that much. I do think the game itself is still super fun to play, and there's a reason why it's one of my favorite games of all time. And a lot of that has to do with how fresh each time just playing a normal deathmatch game is, and how fun the campaign is. I mean, it definitely the campaign that I've played through the most, and it's not like there's anything unique about it. It's not like you can have a different experience. Obviously, you can like go through each scenario and train different units and kind of have a different way of, or different tactics of trying to beat the scenario, but overall it's still the same kind of thing. But what really stands out about it is just how good it is. And I think the biggest reason, and I've talked about this in my top 10 games of all time video, is it basically, the campaign is the story of Arcantos, who's the main character. And what I love about it is you have him in most of your missions that you play, but you see him just kind of get stronger and stronger throughout. And it's not like his attributes, like his health and attack power, change all that much, but just the character in general gets stronger with each battle won, until finally you get to the final scenario and he becomes a literal god and just destroys another literal god in the game. And it's just such a satisfying story to play through and kind of just see these characters just branch out and become these crazy deities that they are. And it's just you have to play through it to yourself to kind of get that feeling for it. And it's one of the reasons why I love it, because even though it's not quote unquote replayable, you know, it doesn't have like different and unique things that you find through each and every time you play through it. It just has a great story, and you know that sometimes that's all you need to play through a campaign more than once. And another huge thing that I haven't mentioned yet, that is a big reason why I love this game and have so much nostalgia for it, because it's lost on other games, is cheat codes. This game has cheat codes that are really easy to input and really fun. A lot of them are just kind of wacky and crazy, but it's what makes this game so fun. So like in this game, I used a cheat code to speed up the training time and building time of all buildings and infantry units, which just helps make the game go faster. Really, it's not like it does all that much to the gameplay, but it just is super fun to do. Like, and there's just some wacky ones, like you can type, and it's all just like typing into the chat to get it. Obviously you have to enable it if you're doing like a death match, in order to get the cheats to work, which I mean it's just like a little button in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. It's not like it's out of place or like secret in any way, you know, but it is super cool, just how silly and wacky some of them are. Like if you type in "Oh Canada," you get this like Canadian cocaine bear that shoots lasers from its eyes, and it just speeds around the map at Mach 10. And it's just so wacky and so stupid, but it just makes it so unique. I think cheat codes are a thing that are just completely lost in today's gaming industry, and it's sad to see, because, you know, just cheat codes were such a cool thing back in the day. You know, I remember going on to like these gaming forums and people like figuring out these different cheat codes for the game. I remember like whenever I played against friends or families in this game, I would secretly allow cheats, and I would have like a browser open that, or actually I didn't have a browser open because I mean back then it was kind of difficult to have a browser and have a game open because of how slow computers were, but just to have I had like a notepad of just all the different cheat codes and what they did, and just using them secretly to just mess with my friends and family was so much fun, and I really miss that in games. And I could go on for ages about how much I love this game, but I'll leave it at this. If you're a fan of real-time strategy games, definitely go check this game out. If you're a fan of Norse, Egyptian, Greek mythology, this game does such a good job of blending all three of those together and making a really impactful story that combines all of them into one large narrative. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like if you did, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.